When Kweku Safo received the scholarship letter, his mother cried before she finished reading it. St. Aldrich prestigious senior high school. A name whispered with pride and fear in equal measure. It was the kind of school politicians mentioned in speeches and headmasters used as threats: if you don't learn, you'll never see St. Aldrich. And just like that, they used what they had left to buy his items. When Kweku arrived on campus, the school sat on a hill, its ancient buildings watching students like silent judges. The bell rang with authority. Everything felt expensive: knowledge, discipline, destiny. That was when he saw them. They called themselves the Sons. Kwame, rich, handsome, disciplined with impeccable grades. Martin, TLL, exceptional athlete who walked like he owned the school because apparently his family did. And last but not least, Mary, saint of the school. Her beauty was undeniable, her grades talked for itself, and most of all, everyone called her an heavenly angel because of her looks. Together they made the three sons. Kweku just looked at them from afar. Even from where he was standing, he knew these were no ordinary students. Days passed. He made two friends, Kojo, loud and confident, and Mensa, quiet and observant. Together they laughed about strict teachers, midnight preps, and the strange rules that seemed unnecessary to everyone but the head. One evening after prep, Kweku was walking out of campus when he saw something strange. It was the three sons heading into an empty classroom. Kweku knew it was none of his business. But still he wanted to know what they were doing there at that hour. Prep was already over 30 minutes past. So Kweku followed silently. There he saw them. The chalkboard was covered in symbols, ancient, crooked, alive. The air smelled like iron and incense. His legs froze. Then Mary stepped out of the shadows. She wasn't alone. 5 students followed her, robes replacing uniforms. Their eyes glowed with purpose, not madness. "Welcome, Kweku, I know you are there," she said, voice low. His mouth went dry. What is this?" "A covenant," she replied. "We are here to worship Sanfu, our salvation, our all." She walked closer. "Now I will give you that choice to be part of our wonderful society," Mary said calmly. "Be initiated, gain power, protection, and a future beyond imagination. Or," she tilted her head, "be sacrificed, and let your destiny serve those who understand the world as it truly is." The door slammed shut. Before Kweku knew it, he was already surrounded. In that moment, Kweku realized that he had gotten himself into more trouble than he bargained for. Kweku, though, for a second took a deep breath and asked, "If I agree, can you guarantee me that no one near me will get hurt?" Mary stood forward. "I assure you, here I do not use human sacrifices." "What of me?" Mary raised her hand. The candles flared. "You will see beyond grades and classrooms. You will never fail. Never beg. Never be small again." Her voice dropped. "But you must remain loyal to Sanfu." Kweku looked at the symbols again. Some looked freshly drawn. Others, older. Scratched deep into the walls, as if someone had tried to claw them away. He made a decision. "I choose initiation," he said quickly. A collective breath was released. The candles burned blue. They circled him, chanting in a language that scraped against his ears. Mary stepped forward, holding a small blade. "Just a drop of blood," she said. "To seal the bond." As the blade touched his palm, Kweku felt a sudden heavy weight in his body, as if something was setting on him. Soon it was over and Kweku had become a cult member. After the initiation, blessings followed Kweku like obedient shadows. At first, they were small. His mother called one evening, her voice trembling with disbelief. "The woman I saw for just paid me 3 times my usual fee," she said. "She said my hands are gifted." A week later, Kweku's younger sister won a regional scholarship, something no one from the area had ever achieved. His father, long unemployed, was suddenly offered a job by a man who claimed Kweku's name kept coming to him in dreams. Kweku smiled when he heard the news. The presence inside him purred. At school, he became untouchable. Teachers praised his discipline. The headmaster mentioned his name during assembly. Doors opened before he knocked. Even Kojo benefited. He narrowly escaped expulsion after Kweku casually spoke to a senior tutor. Mensa's sick mother received free treatment from a private hospital, anonymous donor. Bro, Kojo said one night, laughing, since you entered this school, your luck has infected all of us. Kweku laughed too. Kwaku was starting to think that being part of a cult was not so bad after all. But late at night, when the campus quieted, he noticed the pattern. Every blessing arrived after a summons. Every miracle followed a ritual. One night, after a particularly long gathering beneath the assembly hall, Kweku returned to his dorm to find his phone buzzing. His mother again. They approved our house loan, she said breathlessly. No collateral. No delays. Kweku, or what did we do to deserve this? He stared at his blood-marked palm. God has remembered us, he replied automatically. Soon, his family moved from their cramped apartment into a painted house with running water and light that never went off. His mother started attending Thanksgiving services weekly. His father testified loudly about breakthroughs. Kweku watched it all from afar. The cult was pleased. As the saying goes, nothing is free in life, and Kwaku's case was no different. It started quietly. So quietly that Kweku almost convinced himself it was coincidence. His father was the first. A minor accident at work, they said. A slip. A fall. Nothing serious. But the strong man who once carried cement bags with his never walked the same again. The promotion he was promised vanished without explanation. Still, we thank God, his mother said, forcing a smile. At school, the summons increased. No longer once a week. Sometimes every night. Balance, the elders repeated. The world must not tilt too far in one direction. Then his sister fell ill. Doctors were confused. Tests came back clean, yet she grew thinner, weaker. One night, while Kweku sat in a circle beneath the assembly hall, he felt a sharp pain in his chest, like something being pulled. At that exact moment, miles away, his sister screamed. Kwaku knew this had gone on enough, so he had to confront Mary. You said my family would be protected, Kweku whispered, gripping her arm. And they were, she replied calmly. You misunderstood what protection means. Here. Kwaku asked, what do you mean? She replied in a calm voice, we all had to go through some things to get here, you just have to hold on. Kwaku said nothing and walked away. Soon what started out as a blessing started to look like a curse to Kwaku. His mother's sewing business boomed, then her eyesight began to fail. Their new house stood proudly, then cracks appeared without reason. Joy arrived, then lingered too long, turning into chains. Then. His mother. This time, she was crying. Kweku, she sobbed, your sister, she stopped breathing for a while. They brought her back, but the doctor says, they can't do anything and they don't know how long she has. Kweku dropped the phone. Suddenly Kwaku knew enough was enough. Kweku stopped sleeping. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw a scale, one side filled with his family's blessings, the other dripping with what had been taken. He finally understood the cult didn't own him because of fear. They owned him because of gratitude. And gratitude, twisted long enough, became a prison. He started quietly. He did not confront the elders, that was foolishness. Instead, he watched. He listened and watched, hoping for an exit. Kweku found Mensa one night, trembling in the doom. You've always been praying, Kweku said quietly. Why? Mensa looked at him for a long time. Because I'm from a religious home and we are told to pray or stop certain things from getting to us. That was the first crack of hope. The cult hated holy things, not because it was stronger, but because it did not bargain. Kweku began resisting in small ways. He delayed summons. He missed chants. He stopped answering when the presence whispered. Each time, something small went wrong, burns on his skin, migraines, sudden misfortune, but he noticed something else too. The cult grew anxious. Mary came to him one night, anger and fear warring in her eyes. "You're weakening the bond," she hissed. "Do you want them to take your mother next?" That was the moment he stopped pretending. "I want out," he said. She laughed bitterly. "There is no out, not for you, not for me, and not for anyone." But her hands were shaking. "You better come tonight or you may never know what they will take from you next, it may even be a life." But Kwaku did not waver. That night he made the most dangerous choice of all. He refused to attend a major ritual. At exactly 10 p.m., instead of kneeling in the circle, he walked barefoot into the chapel and sat alone in the silence. He did not pray for wealth. He did not pray for protection. He prayed for release. The presence screamed inside him. Not in anger. In hunger. Across campus, candles refused to light. Symbols bled chalk dust. Elders collapsed mid-chant. Because Kweku had done something no initiate ever had. He stopped choosing them. But freedom demanded payment too. The presence spoke one final time. "Do you choose to live?" Kwaku answered a yes. The presence replied, "Then everything you have will live with us." Kweku's chest tightened. He thought of the house. The money. The opportunities shook him a little. Then he thought of his sister's hollow, almost lifeless eyes. "Take it," he whispered. "Just leave them alone." As he spoke those words, he suddenly felt lighter and free. By morning, the boy everyone admired was gone. His grades dropped. His influence vanished. Teachers forgot his name. At home, the house loan was revoked. The business slowed. The money dried up. But his sister woke up laughing for the first time in months. His father stood without pain. And for the first time since arriving at St. Aldrich, Kweku slept and dreamed of nothing. On graduation day, his name was called without applause. No honors. No speeches. As he walked off the stage, he passed Mary in the crowd. She looked older. Tired. Trapped. "Why leave?" she whispered. Kweku smiled sadly. "I chose to leave." But behind the thick walls of the school still something leaked, waiting for its next prey.